Guitar Whisperer headquarters. I've got a few little jobs on at the moment. First up is this Epiphone SG. I think it's about 20 years old, and these were really nice guitars, regardless of how much they cost. Made in Korea, I think, anyway. Lovely natural body, small pickguard, classic SG stuff, and the owner said it's got a few issues he'd like me to have a look at. We got some buzzing on the frets in various places and some crackly electronics. So I've started going through it. I've flushed all the electronics out with some deoxit. We'll probably give it another squirt in a bit as well. And I'm going to see if I can reseat these frets a bit. They're not very even. I said to the guy who owns it, if I can get away without doing a fret job on it, that would be a thing that he would like, because he hasn't got a lot of money at the moment. So I'm going to go over each fret with this hammer and also this mallet. As guitars get old, sometimes the wood changes and shrinks a bit and dries out, and the frets can start springing up slightly, which makes them, well, rather uneven. I've checked them all, the fret rocker, and they're all over the place, so let's give this a go anyway and see if it makes a difference. I'm not hitting them very hard, by the way. This is I think it's supposed to be a leather worker's mallet for carving leather things. It's much easier with the two hammers. So I'm using this one, I guess as a drift pretty much. It's a soft face, small soft face mallet. And I'm hitting the small one with this one. So there's not a lot of weight in this, so it's not getting a massive belting. Well, they seem to be slightly better. I've checked them with the rocker. They are still a bit uneven, but they're better than they were. So we'll have to see how this goes. Sometimes if they've popped up out the fingerboard, it means that the slot isn't gripping the tang on the fret very well. And you can hammer them down, but then they'll pop straight back up again. So the options are: press them and super glue them in, kind of down the side of each fret, and then do a fret job, as in levelling and re-crowning. But we'll see how this goes first. If he's happy with it like this, then all well and good. It can do another year or two then before it needs having the frets level. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Restringing with 11 to 49, and it's going to be tuned to D standard. The owner is a big fella, bigger than me, and he likes to have a heavier string, especially in these sort of tunings, so that he doesn't pull them out of tune. when he's holding down chords. Something that I think is a really good idea, and I do a similar thing myself, because, well, I'm a bit clumsy. So to string it up with the new strings, I think we'll give the truss rod a tiny bit more relief as well, because we're working with less than perfect frets. If you've got perfectly levelled frets, you can get away with having a little bit less relief. I mean, there's all sorts of other factors too, like playing style, string gauge, all that sort of stuff. But generally, yeah, the better the frets are, the smaller the relief can theoretically be. So I'll just give this one a quick tweak. Just an eighth of a turn with a 4mm hex wrench. There, that's slightly more relief now, which should help with the buzzing. We'll measure the action as well. I did set it earlier with the old strings on. So at the moment, this is sitting at about 60,000, or thereabouts. I'm going to leave it like that on the bass end, or the bass side. Drop it down a tiny bit on the treble side. I mean, hardly any. That's sounding much better. Still feels nice in the hand as well. But the fret buzzing's gone away. Good news. Okay, we'll leave everything like that for now then. I will start checking the intonation, which I'm pretty sure we will need to look at as we've changed strings and various things, but we'll just have a quick look at that and see how it is. It was pretty close. Needs a little tweak there though. As a complete aside to all this, I had a great time last night going to an acoustic jam session, which was a folk jam, I guess. You know the sort of thing. Everybody sat around the table. Guinness. Some Irish people, some Irish music. And I went down because my friend John is a regular there. John from Los Manolitos. I went down with my electric upright bass. Mad looking NS design thing. I got some slightly funny looks from people when I started setting it up, which is often the case. Because they were all playing acoustic guitars and violins and whistles and stuff. But luckily I managed to slot in quite nicely. And we had a great time. I haven't played folk music for a long time, not like that anyway. Back in the day, I used to tour about playing folk music. Well, folk rock. In all sorts of places. And with all sorts of people. But, well, it was a very large part of my life. I haven't played it like that for a long time. And it was great fun. I'll definitely be going back. Also, I got paid in Guinness. Not that I was expecting to be paid anything. It's always nice to get a liquid paycheck. As long as you don't have to be up early the next morning. There, that's set now. Now that that's been set, check the action again. Just to make sure everything's still in the right place. It should be, because we've only done tiny tweaks. So, yeah, I'm going for about 60,000 on the bass side and about 50,000 on the treble side. And of course check it to see if it feels right. And it does, it feels very nice. So what we'll do then with this one, we'll leave it for a bit. I only tweak the truss rod by a tiny amount, but whenever I do move the truss rod, I like to leave stuff to sit for a while. Adjust to the new tensions and things. I'm pretty sure this is nearly there. We'll give the controls another quick squirt of deoxit while we're here. The magic spray. Bloody great stuff, by the way, deoxit. I mean, those other contact cleaners are available, obviously. And deoxit is the most expensive one. But it works ever so well. I think a little can like this is 20 quid or something, which is kind of outrageous. But it works. And you don't need an awful lot of the stuff. You don't have to drown the controls. So these little cans do go a long way. We'll let that sit for a bit and then check it again. Well, that's pretty much done. Nice guitar. Okay, next up is this Tanglewood. It's a nice guitar. It's got a curious... It's not an inlay. It's a piece of veneer stuck to the headstock, which is then inlaid, because it sticks up proud of the rest of the headstock. It's a nice guitar again. It's nice and light and resonant. The action is a little high. It's up over 100,000, so that needs to go down a bit. We'll get it down a bit, looking at how much saddle is left sticking out. We can take that down a bit. It's not going to go down massively, but it will go down a bit. Truss rod could be slightly tighter as well, so that'll take it back down a little bit. Also, and as well as that, we're fitting a Fishman sound hole pickup, one of these things. So that's going to sit in there, which is the easy bit. And then the less easy bit is the end pin socket, which replaces this strap button, which looks way neater than having it here or having the cable dangling up, but it is a bit of a faff. So yes, we'll get that done for him. First thing though, strings are coming off. I'm leaving the strings here for now, so we've got something that I can quickly reattach and use for testing once we get it all in. So let's have a feel of it. Whenever I do this, I'm always wondering to myself, will I ever get my hand back? Yeah, there's a big chunky end block there. That's good. So let's get this strap button out. So this is why it's fiddly. Swapping a strap button wouldn't be difficult, but the strap button's only got a tiny hole. This thing's obviously much bigger. It comes apart. Oops. This is the bit that'll go on the outside, and then you can adjust this to compensate for the thickness of the end block by moving these nuts up and down. So this is difficult to describe, but this comes off. This goes in. You grip it. Oh, you put an Allen key through that. You tighten that up. This. So then. Oh, this is sticking there, and then you screw that on the end. Did I explain that well? So basically I've got to make a much bigger hole, and I'll do that by working up through different drill bits slowly, possibly using a step drill as well, and also possibly employing a reamer to do the final fit. It's quite important to get it just big enough to get the jack through. You don't want it any bigger than that, because if you go too big, there's nothing for the nuts to tighten onto, and there's more chance of it coming loose anyway. So let's take our time with this one. I mean, with anything like this, just take your time. It's pretty intimidating drilling holes in guitars, but just go as slow as you can, work your way up through the drill bits, stop, measure, measure again, and you'll be fine. There we go, perfect. Oops, don't lose that. Perfect fit. Right, let's get it cleaned up a bit. I'm sure there's going to be somebody screaming at the screen, "Why have you clamped that acoustic in a vise?" It's not clamped down, it's just to stop it falling aside. But having a stable workpiece, this makes drilling much easier. I'm a big fan of Fishman stuff, by the way. Especially these sound hole ones. I don't really like the sound of piezo pickups, the ones that go under the saddle. It is possible to get a good sounding one, but you often have to do so much work in terms of preamps and things to make them sound good that you think, well, is it really the right kind of pickup? And the setup with a sound hole pickup, under saddle pickup, has to be so precise. You really need to have the bridge saddle exactly the right fit in the slot, which is actually means it will have to be slightly too loose compared to if you're doing an acoustic setup, and you have to have the bottom of the slot perfectly flat and all these things. And I always think, just get a nice sound hole one. To me anyway, they sound as good. And it's just I think it's a better tool for the job. I can understand how you might not want to see something in the sound hole. It doesn't affect the sound though. Also, I did a repair a while ago when somebody bought me a non-functioning Fishman pickup, which somebody else had attempted to repair, and it hadn't gone well. And there were some loose wires and stuff inside that I didn't know where they were supposed to go, so I emailed Fishman, who said, "Oh, that's one of our old ones. We'll have to go back to the records to check where that wire's supposed to go," which they did. And then they got back in contact with me within about 10 minutes with a little diagram with arrows and stuff drawn up. Fantastic customer service, very friendly people. Makes a difference to me anyway. So yeah, Fishman. Hang on, thumbs up. Just remember that I made a tool for doing this the other day. Look, that's much easier. Jack plug on a stick. Or actually a headphone adapter on a stick, but you get the idea. Okay, socket is in and tightened up. I'm trying to see if I can do anything clever with the cable clip before I put the pickup in. If there is a cable clip, but I don't think there is a cable clip. There is no cable clip, so I might have to find one then at a slightly later date to tidy this up. These are super easy to fit though. You've got two ears which come undone like this. And then they just clamp onto the sound hole. This one's got batteries in it, so it's active. It doesn't have a separate battery box. It's just got these two little, I'm not sure what you call those, hearing aid batteries? Pardon? But it will just go in like that. So yeah, it is active. There's a volume control on there. The batteries are easy enough to change because there's only got two screws holding it in. You'd be amazed at how many people come to me with active guitars. And I look at them and clock that there's a battery compartment or something. And I say, when's the last time you changed the battery? And they'll say, what battery? Does it need a battery? And it's news to them that that guitar needs a source of power to make the preamp work, or at least to make it work properly. To be fair to people, sometimes, on acoustics at least, they're hidden somewhere stupid in a bag, which is kind of velcroed up here somewhere. So it's often worth shining a torch inside your guitar if you're not sure, and having a bit of a fish about. But yeah, when you put new batteries in for them, they're amazing. It's like a revelation. Right, let's take a little bit of height off this saddle. It's not going to be very much, but we'll see. Get a bit off. Okay, on second thoughts, I think I'm going to leave this saddle the way it is. There's not much of the saddle protruding above the bridge. So, with any guitar, if you want to lower the action at the 12th fret, which is where it's normally measured, you have to take off twice that amount at the bridge. So if I wanted to lower the action by a millimetre here, I would have to take twice the amount off here, because here is halfway between the nut and the bridge. So to take a millimetre off here, I would have to take 2 millimetres off here. Now, the total height sticking up above the bridge on this one, on the treble side, is about 2 mil. So the very most I could really take off would be a millimetre, which would mean that this would only go down by half a millimetre. And then you start running into other issues then, like brake angle over the saddle and things like that. This is quite common on acoustics. They move around as they age and get exposed to changing temperatures and changing humidity and stuff. And you often find that the body bellies here, which means the bridge comes up, which means the action goes up. And I say, and there's only so far you can go with shaving down the bridge, the saddle. So there are ways around this. Ideally, if you had the time and the money, you would do a neck reset, which would be changing the angle that the neck is attached to the body at, which, as you can probably imagine, is a very involved job, which involves steam and knives and all sorts of stuff. only really worth doing on a guitar that you really like, or one that's worth some money and you want to keep for a long time. But it does get the job done. There's other ways you can do it. You could plane down the top of the saddle here. So plane down the top of the bridge, sorry. So take some wood off the top of the bridge, which would expose more of the saddle, which then means you can take a bit off the bottom. That's not without its own problems, in that you can end up with a slot that's too shallow to stop the bridge falling over, and also break angle problems and that sort of thing. And also, if you've got a valuable old guitar, you don't want to be shaving bits of wood off it particularly. And there's another way of doing it, which is if you've got a bad belly on the top, you can install a device called a bridge doctor, which is fairly easy and it works really well. It does involve drilling a hole or two in the bridge again, which you can plug and hide quite easily. And they're a bit of a faff to fit. The owner of this one said he wasn't that bothered with the action, even though he admitted that it could be a bit lower. So what I think we'll do is we'll just tighten the truss rod slightly and take a bit of relief out of the neck, and that will lower the action slightly. But yeah, shaving the bottom of this saddle isn't really the right thing to do on this guitar. Well, this one has now been sitting for a few hours, and I've just double checked the neck relief and it's fine, so it's good to go. It's a nice looking guitar, isn't it? I like that natural finish, and I do like an SG. And this one's also done. Just check the pickup, make sure it's all working, and it makes nice noises, so this one can head back to its owner too. See you soon.